Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you so much for joining. It is Tuesday. It's time for our update with Michelle Wolfe. How are you doing today, Michelle? Well, your connections. Whoa, hold on. Whoops. You are muted. I'm so glad I didn't have to wait for the chat to tell me. I unmuted her, you guys. So just so you know, she's coming. Here she is, Michelle
Here I am.
Wolfe.
So say it again. I'm here. I'm a little tired. I'm a little achy. I'm a little congested. Definitely feeling the flu symptoms, but the practice every day is really important. So I did what I usually do before we go on, and I had my bath and I've meditated and everything. It does help for sure. But I'm feeling I got the cough, I got the sinuses, pressure, everything.
Yeah, my buddy Jamie sent me an email asking about anyone else dealing with flu symptoms. Now, at the time when he asked that, I wasn't, but he said his whole family were dealing with flu symptoms. And then, of course, my whole family started getting them. And I've been dealing with like sore throat and nothing super duper bad as far as like, the sore throat I've had like an itchy kind of cough. And I was recording our Power of 8 with Eileen last night, and man, my throat was just tickling and my eyes were watering. I'm like trying not to cough in the mic or whatever, but yeah, I've been dealing with that, especially with the Schumann has been blasting us still, pulses, and I've been feeling super tired, like not only energized in the middle of the night when I want to go to bed, I feel energized, but then like when it's time to get up, I'm like, oh, and then I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, it's noon already, but I didn't go to bed till 5, so it's
I
not like,
couldn't sleep last night. Yeah, I had a hard time getting to sleep last night too, tossing and turning. Yeah, and then in the morning it's like noon. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm hungover,
yeah, so chime
and I
in
don't
the
drink.
chat, you guys, if you've had this, whatever your symptoms are, because just to kind of get a meter on what's going on with everybody, I'd like to know if you're having, oh, headaches. Have you had the horrible headaches?
I
Oh my
have. I
gosh,
have a
headaches.
couple of times. Pressure. Oh,
My kids have, so I know it's just not me. I know it's not just dehydration because I typically do get headaches if I don't drink enough, and I've been making sure everybody's drinking a lot. Make sure you're drinking lots of water because that'll give you a headache for sure. But it hasn't helped drinking lots of water.
no, it's surprised. Like it really feels like that balloon. I am like one tired old water balloon at this point. Right? Being blown up and then flushed out and blown up and then flushed out. And I feel like my joints are those rubber bands, and just feeling that stretching, especially within the skull area, the sinus area. And I know, thankfully, I know it's the pineal gland going at it, and I am noticing differences with those activations within myself. So it is good to have those confirmations, but it is still very tiring at the same time, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
the headaches are hard.
it sure is. I want to go to Mr. MBB333.com and click on the Schumann here, and let's see what we're looking at now because I know we've been getting blasted a little
How
bit.
about that human?
Oh.
How about that human? I think I'm going to have a show once a week just called "How About That Human."
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see. Oh, it even went offline for a while here. I didn't even notice that. I
Oh,
guess,
really?
yeah. What is it? About 12 hours ago? Yeah, looks like it went offline for maybe a quarter of an hour or whatever. But
Really?
we have been getting blasted. That's what these white lines you see are. Even these smaller white lines are really short pulses that aren't normal. I mean, it should be more smooth like this, even smoother than this. But you can see these white lines that go the whole length of the scale. So it's not like, I mean, it's a super blast. It should be just like mainly in this area, highlighted at the 7.82 hertz, but you can see it goes the whole way off the charts, basically.
Well, yeah, maybe that's it. They're blasting the charts. They're not even like. Don't you think they should change the counter? Like, it's been going off for a while now. Don't you
Yeah.
think you should sort of change the gauge numbers to go a little higher so we can figure out what's going on, what the real numbers are? Maybe they don't want to. But that actually reminds me to let you know I'm going to be doing with a show with Alexis Buck on Friday, and because she really likes to follow space weather stuff and everything too.
Oh yeah, I was just
And
watching her video
I do.
earlier.
Yeah, so we were talking yesterday for a good while, and what we want to really work together to do is because these pulses are picking up in frequency, and we can see with the space weather information that's available, like the uh, charts and the movies I shared with you on the space weather news through Mr. MBB site, and you can see the density and the pressure, right, and the velocity, and then also there's other ones from the Batra satellite that show the field lines, and you keep seeing, right, this wave and this like bloop and this energy that's coming off. It's like we're building up this energy, and then it keeps sort of setting off this charge. Something's going on there, and it is picking up in frequency, right? And I think I want to look at how it matches with the Schumann and what is lining up on those, baby, and see what we can put together, because it's getting faster. Been watching it happen for a while. It used to be like every it was like once a week or so you see church, and it was like every few days, and then it was like every day, and then now it's happening multiple times through the day. And I know that with the one series that we looked at a couple shows ago, where it shows our planet and the velocity, density, and the pressure, it's oh jeez, I just totally lost my train.
The velocity and the pressure. Are you talking about the cluster of waves that form behind the Earth, the opposite side of the sun on the charts?
Yeah, it's not on the same side of the sun, and this is this like bloop, bloop has been going on. That is?
It almost seems like a planet-sized craft is there, sort of evening out the pressure or something. Is what it looks like, but you just can't see the craft or something. But something seems to be counteracting the force coming from the sun. Is how it looks when you sort of play it. It looks like there's something that's sort of, I don't know, buffering.
Every day I'm buffering. You just buffered right out on me.
Oh yeah, you did a little bit too. I didn't on my own though.
Yeah, well, I think what you were saying was what's there, right? Because obviously the field lines are going like spaghetti everywhere. Well, that just doesn't make any sense. You can literally see the energy consistently going. You can see us getting buffered with energy consistently. What it reminds me of is, I do think of when Corey Good talked about the blue spheres. I don't think just because I'm bringing out Corey Good that I'm endorsing everything he says or anything. It's just the idea that there is objects around that could be helping us to buffer this energy, right? And to be able to take it in. A lot of those systems being removed now too. But there's conjecture we've heard recently, and even for some time, about large objects, like much larger than our planet. Basically, and not planets, but possibly ships themselves. And what is it they're here to do and help us do? I believe that they are. So transition is escalating. The energy is picking up. We can feel it. And I think a lot of the messages and affirmations that we receive between dreams and our own, channeling or information of how we take it in is telling a lot of the same story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really at the breaking open point now. We're really at a cusp of cracking that egg open and really peering at what is inside. So it also, beware the biases. Keep your mind really open at this point, as much as you can. As this information comes out, keep really open mind as to where the information is coming from, and use your own gut and your own warning system, your own intuition to navigate through all of this that we may start to see.
Yeah, let's see. April's talking about racing heart, and I've had that. In fact, I've even had heart palpitations. So has anyone else been experiencing the rapid heart rate? April says that her and her boyfriend work out. They monitored their heart rate, and both of their heart rates jumped up to 200 and then down to 100, that's pretty high. That's pretty fast. That's like running from a bear speed right there. You know what I mean? And then to jump right back down to 100. So this sort of racing. I mean, there's I see it as two different types of heart palpitations. You'll get the one where it's like you get a pause in your heartbeat and it kind of comes back with a oomph, like a,
Hmm.
and then sometimes it'll just race and it'll just like, for some reason it'll just jump up really fast. So I get both of those types, not very often, but I know it can be an indicator that you're low on magnesium just from a regular physical standpoint. You might want to make sure because almost everyone is magnesium deficient, I found out. And that's so many symptoms stem from that, and getting over a lot of the different things we deal with. So we want to make sure we're taking in enough magnesium. Just wanted to add that in.
Yeah, well, I do think people's blood pressures are getting affected, both lowering and raising.
Hmm.
I will say yesterday, my heart palpitations were off the hook. Like I thought I was at like a rock concert where where the speakers are so and you're like
Yeah.
vibrating inside. And it was like, is that like my heart? Now my blood pressure has been up for a while, and I'll tell you that when these waves are coming in, like I'm up at like 180 over 95 and getting as high as like over 200, over 110. So, but I mean, I'm not. There's no reason. I've been through the whole medical thing for years. Like, it's that started raising really with 2012 with all the other ascension symptoms. But now it's like I can tell you, yeah, the last few days, but really yesterday was very very powerful. The heartbeat was going really so fast that it really felt like a thrumming vibration was being created within me. So I don't know if anybody's experiencing that too. Definitely tuning into the ears and the sound of the ears and those high pitches going on. And I've been practicing with that idea of sort of tuning in around that eardrum and kind of seeing how high I can hear it at. Noticing vision changes that go with it too.
That's a great
So,
point you bring up because I didn't know this, but your pressure dropping a whole bunch to a really low will cause ear ringing as well. I got dehydrated years ago, and I was super dehydrated. Worked in the heat, didn't drink enough, and ended up having to call an ambulance because I was like passing out. But I remember my ears were ringing, and so I've been getting the ear ringing without the low blood pressure too. So there's something
mhm.
going on, and it was both ears when I had the blood pressure, and I also got lightheaded and was losing little blocks of time because I remember like I was like here, and then I was like running into the cabinet, and then I was like on the floor, so I was like in and out of consciousness. But that was from being
Wow.
super dehydrated. I was like working in the heat and sweating a bunch and didn't drink enough, but I do know
Yeah.
that lower blood pressure can cause, ringing in the ears. But like I said, I've been getting it even more than usual. Probably every other day I'll get ringing in the ears, and it's sort of ramping up there too. Now, of course, we just passed the equinox, the solstice, or I'm sorry,
Wow. And the full
the
moon.
fall.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, so we got all
Whew.
sorts of energies and stuff going on, and I know it's
It
easy
is
to,
powerful. It
yeah.
really is powerful. I felt it, and I felt the differences. I think a lot of people did. So,
Oh,
it
let's see.
was very tiring.
Lori's talking about the pressure.
Mm.
Um,
Under pressure.
yeah.
Jess and I were singing that Sunday night. Dun, 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 dun. When it didn't cut out.
Oh, RBO saying they have always ringing in the ears.
My ears have been ringing, Shane, for years, nonstop. Nonstop. Multiple layers for years. It doesn't bother me anymore. I'm so used to it. Now I'm actually just trying to realize that it's a tool. Oh, that's what that was all this. Oh, I didn't know. So yeah, so I've been playing with that more now, but
so
and I think there's something to it.
So I don't know. It's for me. I've been noticing that during these times of what's termed the Passover, when the sun passes over the equator, March 22nd and September 22nd, or it can vary a little bit, but these solstices or equinoxes, I mean, a lot of people seem to wake up to the Mandela effect for some reason. I don't know why this polarity shift that happens, but several people, you'll sort of map their time of waking up to the Mandela effect, and it comes out to be right around those two times. So it was for me, it was for Guy Fawkes on his channel, and many other people I've talked to seem to wake up at these times. So we might have an influx of people that are starting to notice these Mandela effect changes to reality that are seemingly impossible, but they are indeed happening. So we need to be aware of that, all of us content creators, that we might have this influx of people that's like, what the heck, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Shane. And I think that, the reason for that it literally is a big shift. I know that there's a lot of ideas that, suggest and look at the fact that those times are actually really portals in essence, right? And so, yeah, you are, to have more Mandela effects kind of makes sense. Being aware of those times and the power of them and setting your intentions within them. Wow, that can really, I think, boost you up, level up a few times there. So knowing where the save points are, that's how I almost look at them. I look at them as like save points.
Oh, like in a game, save points. I like
that. Yeah. Like you kind of lock it in at that level, and by being in, sort of with that intention, recognizing that it is an opportunity, that it is a portal that will allow you to skip a few rungs on the ladder rather easily if you're aware of how to do it, like a secret passageway,
Right.
secret tunnel.
So I don't know if this is from watching videos or what, or if there's some meaning in it, but I want to see what you think about this. I had a dream and I barely remember it, but the main part I remember is I was in this SUV that had somehow driven into, I don't know if I drove into it or how I got there, but it was filling up with water and I needed to get out of it. And I had all of my equipment in it. And I don't drive an SUV, so just that was a point that I wanted to bring out because I don't drive an SUV. So I don't know where this SUV came from or why I was in it. But I know I had like my computer and equipment in there and I had to leave it. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to leave all my stuff in here or die trying to get it. And I just got out, you know what I mean, and just left it. But that was pretty much it. Does anything come to mind?
Well, what I want to suggest to you actually is because I've received a few stories that instinctually make me think, actually, like when you say it's not your SUV, that you're quite possibly through the collective consciousness actually experiencing what somebody else is experiencing at this time. I don't know if it's an aspect of you or not, or it's just allowing you to tap into a vein of the collective consciousness and awareness of, like, I can see that picture very clearly. I can see that the SUV, I can see the water, I can see it's like, yeah, like the streets got flooded. It's just raising like up the windows. Is it like a red, like dirty red? No, dark, almost maroon red.
I don't really remember the color.
Remember the color? No. And the stuff's all in the back. But see, people are actually facing these things. So somebody else has, I've had a couple stories now. And what it feels like to me is that they are actually perceiving things that are going on, even on the moon, at this time, uncovering, different aspects of what is going on in this collective at this time. And it's kind of giving a peek into that. But then again, it's always layered meanings, right, Shane?
Yeah.
So, I think that maybe you're seeing, a collective message. I feel very strongly that you actually saw through somebody else's experience.
But it was my equipment in the car. And like April's saying, she goes, aren't you planning on taking a trip to Sedona with your equipment? I'm like, yeah, but it's not an SUV, so it's not exactly right. But I kind of felt like, I kind of came to the conclusion that it was either, trying to plant a seed of fear not to go maybe, or it could have been that there's going to come a time soon that we can just leave all these earthly things and
behind and go with the flow.
They're going to get swallowed up, but we're going to be able to get out just fine. Because I wasn't in fear of myself.
That's what I would ask
only
you
if I clung,
how you were feeling.
Only if I clung to. I felt fearful about trying to get my stuff out of the car. Like there's no way I'm going to get out with the stuff without it getting wet and ruined anyway. It's sort of my thought, because I remember trying to hold it up out of the water, but I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get out with this stuff. I need to get out right now and just leave it behind and let it get ruined. So that was sort of the whole dream or the whole part I remember of it. So I don't know.
And I think that is an aspect that a lot of people will face shortly. I think we've been given sort of somewhat fair warning, and it's not something to be afraid of. And this is like, thank goodness that we are aware. And I'm not saying that it is, necessarily prophetic. Now, if you go rent a vehicle and it ends up being a maroon minivan, please call me. But I think, again, what's also coming back is the event dreams a lot, and people are having the event dreams a lot. And what the theme, again, that keeps coming up is that you're not afraid, right? The only struggle at any point through that process for you was dealing with the equipment, right? But when you let go of that and just took, dealt with what you had to do within you, then you weren't even. Yeah, I guess you solved, problem solved, right?
So hold on, Lucy.
It's not like you didn't wake up out of that dream like in a nightmare, like you were getting flushed away and you drowned and everything.
Right, it wasn't
like that could have been. No.
Yeah.
But it could have been. It sounds like it could be.
Well, what can water be an indicator of? Like, I know a lot of people with the wave energies, they'll dream about water in a watery sort of way, like it comes in as a wave. Of water, even though
dealing with your emotions, also a subconscious. What's under the water is also your subconscious. I think it's very much part of the process in the visual as well. With this, we're repeatedly told to have sort of this water, this blue, white, I think really Christ consciousness lit water flowing through us to help heal us and do that. Water's been a very big tool. And the symbology of releasing and going with the flow. Again, it's so many levels. But are you going to cling to the banks, or are you going to cling to those things that could weigh you down and cause you more trouble than they're worth?
Yeah.
At the end of what doesn't even need to be, because that could have been a completely different dream if you had chosen in that moment to not give up and not realize, well, it doesn't matter at this point. What does it matter?
You know what? What's weird is that I was actually less scared in the dream of the whole situation than I would probably be in real life, because I'm not a great swimmer. So if I was really, in a situation like that, I probably wouldn't even think of my things. You know what I mean? I would probably be like, oh my God, get out of here. Am I going to be able to make it to land? Or so. And on one level, I was like really calm for what was going on. I should have been freaking out a lot more than, and I think I would in real life if my car really felt like.
No, you wouldn't, because I think that's what that dream is telling you. Because you may very well come up with some situation, not nearly as dramatic, but maybe you will see something. But I think it is telling you, it's part of this process that we go through. How would you deal with this situation? Mm-hmm. How would you deal with it? And you did. You dealt with it calmly. That aspect of you with the water, your subconscious knew what to do in the situation. Mm-hmm. Let it go. And knew what was the priority and was at peace with it, was not in fear. So if anything, I think that's reminding you, Shane, that no, you're good, dude. You're, you know what's important. You know how to deal with these things. We know we're going to see a lot of things going on, but you know what's important. So we do get some trial runs, right? With how we deal with these things.
That's a good point, because a lot of times dreams are trial runs too. Because they used to say that, if you lived like, hundreds of years ago, you'd have dreams about lions or bears being after you and having to run and climb a tree or do something to sort of get away from them. And it was practice for if that really happened. So.
That's right. Yeah, that's what they said. But I think it's a little bit more than that, obviously.
Oh, yeah. That's more the scientific view of it, not the metaphysical.
The metaphysical. But the fact is, the metaphysical is real. So that experience is real. It reminds me of, if you remember back in the spring, I think it was in May, it was, I think it was the last time that I actually felt the wave energy. Mm-hmm. And it was within the dream. And when I got sort of pulled up to that spaceship and went through that fear test. right? It was like going into one of those, you know, roller coaster haunted houses, and you go through the doors and go around the corners, and things would pop out, and as it went, you know, things got worse and worse. And I felt it was like a test. It was
Right.
like a test to see how I could deal with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it blew. I was like, I didn't, I didn't deal with it at all, because I said, no, I'm not. And I think that tells me is that I'm prepared
Mm-hmm.
to handle those things, and it's a reminder for that. It's a reminder for us for that. Yeah,
Have you
interesting dream.
have you been
Gee.
having dreams lately?
Oh yeah, yeah, and even this, and that in between stage. Who was I listening to? Somebody explaining about how, you know, that in between stage when you're waking up and you can sort of hear, and you hear somebody still talking. And I was going through that process this morning, you know. I'm like, okay, like still sort of in my dream, but lucid enough to go, okay, I'm supposed to remember to listen. And again, I thought I had it, but I think that what I need to do is what you said, is the video recorder. I need to figure out how to stay lucid, sort of connected enough, and to just speak and video record. Because if I wake and start writing, I don't know. I'm still in there. I'm still in that dream state,
I
but
know
I'm
what you mean.
experiencing it. And I'm like, yes, okay, I can hear them. I know, okay, this is what I'm supposed to write down. This is so this is what I'm supposed to remember. Oh, I'm going to remember it. Still the same thing. Oh, I'm going to, you know, okay, no, I've got it. Okay, remember? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you got to write it down or you'll forget though.
Yeah. But
That's why I
so
like
much going
mentioning them
on.
here because if I, because I didn't write it down, so I've sort of documented it here. you know.
Mm-hmm. It's very powerful energy. I definitely have a lot, like I have imagery and everything, you know, with the dreams. And there's there I feels like there's a lot of conclusions to repetitive dream scenarios with different people that
Mm-hmm.
I've maybe had over the years, like repetitive scenarios that I played out with, you know, different characters from my life over the years.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be conclusions with those, and me closing them up sort of with an awareness of what's really going on, and how they're actually not even in real. They're, you know, in perspective of what it is that's really going on in the illusion. I'm becoming aware, definitely, of the illusion factor within the dream and without.
Yeah, I think that's been happening more and more too. Like even just
Mm-hmm.
today, I was outside and uh, meditating, and I just couldn't bring myself out of the dreamy feeling, like of everything just seeming like it's not even real. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
more and more difficult to do that these days.
I almost feeling like I could just fade right out, like I could just go, you know, and everything kind of goes staticky, and and I've gotten those slip things a couple times too, where I was like, what? It actually a couple times, like, what happened there?
Right,
Like a really weird
like
sensation,
a
like I just
glitch.
dropped an inch, like it just dropped an inch. I
Yeah,
really weird.
sort of like
Whew.
vertigo, like backwards, or
But like I physically feels like I went down
yeah,
an inch
yeah.
or
I
something.
know exactly
Like,
what you're talking about. Yeah, it's almost like you. Yeah,
not
it's like
just
you drive.
vertigo,
Right. No, I
not just
know.
like woo, but I
Right.
actually went boom.
Right. That's
And
strange.
that's picked up again. Yeah, very unusual things. You know what? I think a lot of it. I want to remind you guys again. Please email me if you've been getting these dreams, and if you've been hearing anything that, you know, rings a bell with this. Really helps to put that information together for everybody else. Give everybody those affirmations too, and keep sharing those things, so we can see the connections in the web between us and the similarities.
Yeah, and
It
that's
really does help.
wolf.art101 at gmail.com. I have
Mm-hmm.
it on the screen right now, so you guys can
Mm-hmm.
type it up.
Yeah,
Just
that's why I decided to do Dream Share every Thursdays to get, you know, people on, and I think it's just been great, because a lot of us that do have these dreams like that can really relate to this. It's great to find a group that can relate to those sensations and feelings, the imagery, the experiences that sometimes can be more real than this, more vibrant than this. So, and I've started really I'm trying to put together the visuals for a whole bunch of different dreams and pictures. So I showed one the other day. I'm just gonna show this. I actually finished this one the other day because it has to do with the UFOs possibly being seen, and this is part of the event dreams. Let me grab this.
Okay.
So for years and years, and even well before, since I was a child, well before 2012 and those big repeated event dreams, I dreamt about this. And it's always very much the same. And, I was walking the dogs with Jess last night, and I looked up at the clouds, and it was like this low, heavy blanket that made things so quiet. And I was like, Jess, that is getting so close to looking like what I've seen in my dreams. And okay, so I did this. It's just like marker and stuff, but I would see this. So the red horizon, you'd see the silhouettes of mountains, right?
Mm-hmm.
There would often be volcanoes going on, but this sort of presentation. Now the UFOs may look different at different times, but there was this heavy blanket, really dark color to the sky, and the really red horizon. And it was like first one and then another and then all around from these big rolling blanket clouds that were so thick. It was like the UFOs which were slowly sort of dropping down and making themselves more visible. But it's like you see one part of it drop is so small, but as it drops more, it's mammoth. And and then you're seeing them here and here and here. And every time, and since I was a child, I was always excited. I was never, ever, ever once afraid, whether it was seeing this when I was a child or seeing this in the event dreams. It was always the same thing. And with the UFOs, it's always been night. It's always been darker. And it's always been like just a whole fleet of them, like all at once. Like, there it is. And my reaction is always the same. There it is. There it is. I knew it was going to be there. I've always known. There it is. Right? So, yeah, I wanted to share that picture too, because I think if anybody's getting imagery like that, if that makes sense to people, if they've seen that in their dreams too. Wow, I'm getting really woozy right now.
You know what? It's funny that you show that image, and I'll have you show it in a second after I talk about this. But I was just dealing with, because it rained for like 2 days, and then yesterday, like, it had started to clear up, but it was like a blanket of clouds over me, and the sun was starting to go down. So I could see, like, if I look towards the airport, it's really flat that direction, and I could see like this area, like you have in your picture there, that was clear. Like, I saw the edge of the blanket of clouds to see the red sky, just like in your image. And it was, they call those rolling clouds, which I've been seeing them quite a bit now. That I did a video on.
They're
them.
so low.
Yeah.
They're so low and heavy. Like, you can't. They're so dense.
You can see the standing wave pattern in it. And
yeah,
is that man-made? Is it energy coming from the cosmos? I don't really know, but you can tell it's some kind of energy making it go up and down like that, because it's in a pattern of waves. It's like a standing wave pattern. Can you show it one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was the way that you have it there, where there's like a blanket, and then towards the horizon you can see through.
But people have seen this red horizon now. Like, I've seen pictures on Mr. MBB, and this is what amazes me, I've been seeing these images since 2012, specifically with the red horizon, with the things going on like that. I put the water in there because it's like waterways that are shifted. Water used to be there. It's not there anymore. It's somewhere else.
Can you raise it or back it up just a little bit so they can see there we go. Yeah, there's water, right? And it looks like, is that lava coming out?
Yeah, this is a volcano. There's usually a volcano going off. The water's change. Sometimes I'll see tsunami in the distance. Always this crazy horizon, always extremely dense clouds that are very low, very dark, often do have a purple tone to them, actually. Mm-hmm. But not the red. It's the horizon is red.
I do love the 3D the shadowing you did on the clouds, the rolling
Oh,
clouds. That's
thank
really
you.
nice. Yeah.
Hey, this is just marker and gel pens.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get these different ideas out a little bit quicker because I want to share these images as best I can, like in the feeling of the images I best as best I can
Hmm.
for anybody else who's seeing this in their dreams, because I've certainly had a lot of stories sent to me and told to me about very similar sounding experiences. So it's
That's
a little stylized for sure, but
I
then
love it.
sometimes the dreams are too.
It's
Yeah. So
very beautiful.
there's, just like the painting, I'm going to do a small, because it's taking too long to do the painting. So I'm going to do some smaller pictures like this
Hmm.
of showing the sky specifically, of what I see in the sky, of how the rainbow light comes through the sky, because I've seen tearing in the sky and stuff too. So I'm really feeling like October is the month where everybody's going to start looking up, and they're aware of that. And I think that's why Q's pointing it out too. The sky up, right?
Yeah, that's right. There was actually a Q post that said the sky is falling or something. Was there?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was in one of the last ones where and now he's brought up, he's in the Q&A. Now, given that he selects the questions he is going to answer, he chose finally to answer ones having to do with the moon landing and extraterrestrials, and if we're the only life, and if there's his last post incorporated the statement in quotations of sky is falling. Look, this week I think he even said. I'm not sure if you can pull that up, Shane, because it's one of the newer ones.
I'm actually trying to pull up that Imagination Warrior song while you're talking about that.
Oh, isn't it so good? I have it in my head. I'm
That's so
so
cool.
happy
Yeah,
John
I wanted to
John Binney
hear.
made this for me, and I was like, I love it. I love it so much. I
This is
can't
so
believe the
cool.
pictures he incorporated. He incorporated my artwork in like all these different aspects in the video, and it's just, I absolutely love it. Jess says she loves the guitar riff. I have to agree.
Oh yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I'm so happy about that. So, but thanks to you, I've got the info I need now to make sure I'm doing the proper setup to do my introduction. That's going to be I'm going to use that in all my live introductions. It's great because to play the music, it's like 5 minutes long, so it kind of gives that time on the live for people to sort of join in the chat, get settled or whatever, and me get settled and come on, right?
Yeah. I hope
So
I'm not
yeah.
playing this over. I'm playing it, but I think they can still hear it the way I'm hearing you plenty loud over him singing it, so it's sort of
Oh,
background
you
music.
should have told me to shut up.
No, 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 no. I will actually put this link in the description so you guys can check it out. It's very cool.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love how you had the running through there, and then had the
Which is my Archer video.
Yeah.
Which is my Archer video, right? Doop, doop,
That's so
doop, doop,
cool.
doop, doop.
So what a great community we have here. It's
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah.
got their own gifts they're bringing. Even
The
if
creativity.
even if it's just your story and your presence in the chat room, it's like I'm not
Mhm.
really, everybody plays their important parts. So I think it's great that we do have our community here, and I love to see more of everybody's creativity, from the group and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I quit playing it, but let me see if I can find the Q post you're talking about. I haven't looked in a few days, a couple of days anyway. Has he been posting recently?
Mhm. Yeah.
So we're looking for one about the sky
It's
falling.
all about
Whoops.
the D-class of the FISA warrant. See you guys second last. Pull it up on here.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
You
He
see it?
hasn't posted much since I last looked. It looks like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fairly recent.
he did drop a bunch. I know that they changed the Reddit thing, and I kind of just
Mm-hmm.
watch from a distance because I can totally get sucked into this. It's so exciting, and I've already got books I'm reading and things I'm doing, so I try not to get too sucked into it. But it's easy to do, because it's exciting and to see things finally coming to fruition, if you will.
Yeah, they can't stall. They can only stall for so long,
Right.
right? But this is also now we have to be aware and what of the false flag aspect. You know, that's one of the frisbees they throw out there to distract all of us, right? Squirrel
Right.
about from what's really going on. So we know that's a tactic,
Like you were
and
talking
be
about the
aware.
observatories. You were bringing up the fact that it could be just something that they're throwing out to distract. A lot of people
Yeah,
think Q is like that, but now when you start to look at the information, and a lot of people focus on who Q is, and I'm like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I think it's great if it's JFK Jr. or something like that. That could be a game changer in the end when it all comes out. But it doesn't, like, if it's not, that possibility is there. I don't think it changes the fact that the information.
few people.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more than one person quite possibly working on this. It's a plan that's
Right.
put together and executed. Um, so yeah, I think it's possibly a few different aspects, but and who all of that will be the interesting question. But if you found Sky is Falling, it's interesting because he's brought this up now after referencing the aliens, and we all hear, there's some pictures. You did a video recently of showing her pictures with what's going on out there, what's up and out there, and I'm really feeling like the topic is bending to the fact now that we will see stuff up there. They won't be able to hide it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing they have left now is to change our perception of what is going on, right? To try to put the lenses that they want us to see through when we see these dramatic changes, possibly when they can no
Oh,
longer hide it.
it was the very last post. I looked right past it. Or actually, he quoted it in this very last
Mm-hmm.
post. So it says, "Prepare for Sky is Falling Week." Huh, that's interesting.
It's
The
got a
rats
bunch
are
of different
panicking.
references, and I've heard a bunch of different theories, and I think they could all be true. Like there's this, there's a media business Sky in UK that's being bought out. It may have something to do that because it's the Sky business is falling, but I think there's a multitude of levels, and the reason that I think that is because I put Sky is Falling into the gematria calendar or calculator, calculator, and what I got was 144.
That's interesting.
That is not random.
Right.
144. Now that's our spirit. That's the ascension number. I think Q is very aware of the ascension process.
Mm-hmm.
If they are aware of the extraterrestrial development and community around us and what they're here for,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is like the next bigger red pill for the next level for all those ones have got to the Q, have got to the political deep state understanding that in that level. Well, it's time to take it up another rung, right?
Mm.
And that's looking up, and he's introducing that by answering those questions, choosing to answer questions that have to do to space, not one but two separate questions, by bringing up the sky again, but by the fact that you're using Sky is Falling with an ascension number 144 tells me that I think that they are aware of this process. So what tools does like anything that's left of the D state have to use, which are things that because they plant seeds along the way, right? So
Oh
I think
yeah.
there's things that they planting seeds along the way to cause fear.
And just muddy the water in general, like you were saying earlier, just to, throw all these possibilities out to where it just leaves you in the state of confusion. You're like, is it this? Is it this? I mean, think about the observatory, how much confusion.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
And
still
then
confusion surrounding it,
but the suggestions get more and more ridiculous. So then the average viewer
yeah.
just goes off, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't, who knows, whatever. And
Yeah,
just
and the official story keeps getting more and more ridiculous. Like, are really Black Hawk helicopters going to land? Are they really going to shut a town down for what they say it ended up being, an investigation into some, deplorable files from a janitor on a computer, illegal files? I don't know.
this is what we were talking about this before the show, because this is where I go, hold on a second here, and take a step back. Now, again, I'm not telling you that this is the truth. I'm telling you that these are questions that maybe need to be asked.
Yeah.
And what I'm wondering is if this observatory closing was just a big fat, like I said to you, big fat fugazi.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fake. They use the technique of projection. So you've got the like we said, CP,
Right.
CP stand for, right? To bring in Black Hawk helicopters and make a big show of that, make a big show of this closure and the post office. But there was no hazmat suits. There was nothing really going, nobody, it just was very mysterious. It caused mystery. It was like they purposely caused as much mystery as possible. No, we're not even going to tell the sheriff's department what is going on.
And then
So
like
then
the
everybody in the world goes, what's going on?
Yeah, the X-Files DVD on the top of the trash can. It's like Aurora saying it's all scripted. It does totally seem all scripted.
I think it's possible that it could be scripted, because there's a lot, and you have all different conjectures, that it's overlooking, the military sites and the salt fields that, but none of it adds up. And every time they give you more answers, it only leads to more questions. I think that is done on purpose. I am questioning whether or not that this closure was really even staged to cause this, oh, what's going on? Oh, right. Because they know that we are soon going to, there would no longer be able to hide what is actually out there. The only tool they have left is our perception of what we see, what lens we're seeing through. That's the only thing that they have left. And there's specific tools, because they can't think outside the box for themselves. They use the same tools over and over, and that is, one of them is projection, and it's right there, with that story, which doesn't, you're going to bring in Black Hawk helicopters for a janitor doing
right. It is ridiculous. And you know what? It's like the oldest trick in the book, because when I was studying to be an illusionist as a child. In fact, I still say illusionist because my mom said, don't say magician. But yeah, it's always like you get their attention, you get their eyes here while you're pulling the trick over here. So it's like, what's going on? Why are they wanting us to look over here? They're wanting us to look down when we should be looking up, or to look up when we should be looking down, and so forth.
Yeah. Well, The Sky is Falling is also reference to that Little Chicken Little song, right? Little Chicken, and you kept saying, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, right? And it caused all those problems. So I think that's a great reference. You have to look at that children's story of how this is playing out. And I think there's an aspect to these seeds being planted. I know a lot of people have mentioned over the years that they could stage a fake UFO takeover, or, like a War of the Worlds kind of scenario.
You know what? Just to add into what you're saying about that, Aurora is saying that it's the beginning of the fake alien invasion. Only card left to be played in the Illuminati game. Are you actually quite literally meaning the Illuminati deck? They've played all the cards in it except for the alien invasion? Because I haven't looked into that Illuminati deck. Is that all that's left? Because
I don't know about that, but I think that is their last card. There was the ancient technology in Antarctica, which they can distract us with, the uncovery of ancient technology. But I think that we're going to see that anyways. I think that control might be that card might have been taken out of their hands. But I think, the only thing they have left is that last card. I think they may have been staging and implanting even those thoughts that they had the ability, maybe they do have the ability to stage a false attack. But what my dreams have told me over and over again is that it's all done on purpose. And I've literally in the dream, I'm in this theater where they show everybody in the movie theater this whole scenario, War of the Worlds kind of perspective. So then when people coming out of the theater, again, it's nighttime, and then all these things start to go off and shake, and the UFOs drop down in the sky. People are freaking and running around, but they're thinking it's UFOs. They're running away from the UFOs. And every time it's got to do with them being, bamboozled, shamboozled, or whatever it is in a certain way, to have that preconceived lens put on, so they're associating the UFO with attack.
Hmm.
We're gonna be attacked,
Dead GPK is
and they're
saying that
running
the
around.
sky is falling is a song from Queens of the Stone Age. I need to look into that because
Yeah,
that could
I
be
think they're
some
all
kind of.
their references. But what do you guys think about the fact that the gematria is 144?
I have been noticing with a lot of the drops, the Q drops, that there is this double and triple entendre. So you look, the
Oh,
more you dig
yes.
into it, you're like, well, it could mean this and this and this. It's like
It's the quantum reality.
that's exactly why I kind of believe that they're having the help of some kind of quantum AI computer because some of
Yes.
these would be very very difficult to line up because sometimes the post number, all of this stuff adds up to like you're like wow the
Hmm.
thought it would the planning to make things line up like this is just beyond you know a
Well,
couple of humans. I think they need the help of a computer. You know.
I've certainly heard the introduction of the topic of one of the new technologies that it will come out is the quantum computer, is a quantum computer. So I'm wondering, because really, as this all, I think we're going to go through a rapid exposure right now as far as the deep state and what's going on in the dissemination of information. And then, I think even by the end of the year, the possibility that we will actually know who, what, where, when Q was, right?
Yeah.
Um, and what I'm wondering is could that unveiling possibly be then the unveiling that is predicted of this quantum computer? Could that be our introduction to the quantum computer? Just another idea, throwing it out there.
Yeah.
So
There's no telling, really, is there?
there's no telling. We don't know till it all happens, and that's the exciting thing about it. But I think being aware that your perspective can be manipulated, so just constantly be checking in with your own gut and how you feel, and listen to what is going on in here, because the truth is within you, not outside of you.
I've had two religious people tell me in the last week. I think it was on the same video about the SDO footage or whatever that said those on the fence get left behind, right? And I'm like, it's so funny because it's like, you know, if you're sort of if you figured it all out, how can you possibly learn anything more? If you know everything, how can you learn anything, right? If you
I don't
know,
need to. Yeah, but that's where faith comes in.
right?
I keep visualizing that I've rested myself in the palm of God's hand.
Yeah,
I really feel that now. I feel that surrender to that. I don't need to know all the time. I'm curious. I'm a creator. I love to expand my thinking,
yeah. It's
but
fun to
I do
speculate,
not
like
have to.
Kate's saying.
I do not have to have the infinite answer all now, because the trust in being in the palm of God's hand is there.
Yeah.
The trust now that I am being lifted up
Mm-hmm.
and understanding what this process is puts, like, just like in the dream, puts us in that perspective of, I don't have to be afraid. I can, like, just watch this all playing out and go, look, and I knew this and I knew that, and I understand why all those times in the dreams I was not afraid, because I was where I feel I am now, and that's in the palm of God's hand
That's a really
as He's
great
lifting
point.
up.
It's like once you sort of trust that things are going to play out the way they're supposed to play out, you're going to be fine throughout the whole process. You begin to see it as a theater, like you're saying, and these are just the bad
Enjoy
guys
the
playing their
show.
roles. And it helps not to, feel judgmental or hateful towards the bad actors at the same time, too, because you realize, there's got to be a villain in this story. They're playing that role. I'm glad I'm on the hero and the light side, of course. You know what I mean? But it's at the same time, it's like knowing everything's got to play out. You can observe it. You don't have to worry about it. Just enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
get
that's it.
sucked
And that's
in.
what we keep getting reminded, isn't it? And through channeling, like I remember Angela, saying before about the theater and the orchestra, and they're practicing and they're queuing up, and all those things. Always a theater. Picture yourself in a theater. You're watching a show. The projector comes from out here, 360. It's always a show. You're the director. And that's it. That's the veil, that separation, understanding that fact that it is just a show. So and we are watching it play out. And even Q reminds us that to grab your popcorn,
Right.
enjoy the show. because you do not need to be afraid. Those of us that have come through this process and have gone through this understanding or these dreams or these messages or whatever it may be, it's to not be afraid. And we've been given this knowledge, and it's been a little harder to sort of break that ice. I keep seeing that, to be the first to break that ice through there. But it really is about leading the way by example and showing others that we're not afraid.
Is this not the most exciting time of things happening on so many different levels that you've
Can't
ever
keep up.
experienced? It's like the more you wake up, at first it's like, all this uncertainty, but once you can reach a certain level of trusting that things are unfolding in a positive way, you can just really sit back and enjoy what's happening and just, view it for
Yeah.
yourself and know that all the chaos out there, you don't have to really be a part of it. You can just observe it, you know?
Yeah. Well, in the research, in my passion for the research and doing this, which I love to do, right? But is still just like your equipment in the back of that van. It's the same thing. I still have to be willing to let that all go. I'm not required to keep it as my story. I can still keep it in the perspective of it is that film. So even if a half an hour from now, you know, the light comes in and it's time for a process of whatever that process is that Jesus is guiding me to do, I'm ready to let all that go. The research, all this, and be willing to even walk away from all of that. It's in the moment, what I'm feeling passionate, creating, exploring, and doing that, but always be willing to release, because it really is, I think, so much we're going to see now at any moment. At any moment, you could be required to let those things go. Jesus may ask us, are you ready to let those things go? And just go with the flow.
That's totally right. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. We just have to just trust the plan. You know what I mean? Not just the Q plan, but I mean the overall big plan that, from this higher perspective. It's
and you know what? Trusting each other. This is why we have each other. Yeah. This is why we have each other, to hold hands and keep that net strong in that support, for each other without the judgment. Again, leading by example within community, how to do the connection with respect for each person's stage of things, and trying not to judge as well too. We're all through different various stages of this, so but we can hold each other's hand to get through this.
Totally. Especially the ones that aren't awake and they're gonna really be like, I don't know, waking up into what seems to be just a crazy quagmire of chaos. You know what I mean? And we're like, we've been looking at this for a while. Just relax. It's playing out the way they should.
It literally is going to play. Like I feel that. I can feel myself now within, in that lucid dream moment of how I am when all this stuff is going on. Everything's crazy. The solidity and strength that I had within, of peaceful, joyous, wondrous knowing, was so powerful, and I am feeling that within me now. So and that's part of I think the being the beacons. And I think we all know, and I've seen over and over, you can't, again, you can't hold on. We can't save everybody. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of, craziness going on, and even still remember, if it's required to let things go, those who can follow, will follow as they're meant to follow too. But we won't be able to save everybody. And that's part of what we do know as well. So,
but we could be anchors. We can be there for people that are freaking out, and they say, "Well, why are they so calm?" And
but don't let as well that if you have that person who's really going crazy, don't let them drown you.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
Because it could be illusion too. So you got to trust that their process. What is their process as well. So.
And shout out to the K2D4 network. Dan is here.
Dan. Brother, I haven't talked to him in a while.
Talk is cheap.
Yeah.
So, gonna see him this weekend in Sedona.
Oh gosh, I wish I was there.
Oh, it's going to be a blast, man. I'm looking
Oh,
forward
if
to
it
meeting you
wasn't
in
for the
person.
passport.
Oh, yeah. We
Yeah.
could
Oh
maybe
well.
sneak over or something. No, I'm just playing. You might not get back home, right?
Yeah, I'll just carry like a bush in front of me.
Right.
Ding, 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 like Wile E. Coyote behind a
Yeah.
cactus.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this trip, and I do want to thank everyone that's contributed because I wouldn't even be able to go if it wasn't for you, the viewers. So I love you all, and thank you so much. And I will definitely be reporting, so bringing you guys with me, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be something
Yeah,
to remember for a lifetime.
I think
So
it's gonna be
I'm
pretty
honored.
powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel it already. I can feel it already. So I wish. I think I'll be there in spirit. I really do.
Yeah, I'm
So,
actually planning on stopping probably on the way back though, but maybe Albuquerque and maybe meet up for an hour or so with some of the viewers. So I will keep you guys posted with
oh,
that or
that'd be
whatever.
great.
Because I know there's a few in Albuquerque we can meet up. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe just
Yeah,
even if it's at a
yeah,
truck stop for a half hour or something, like a Flying J's or something.
yeah.
So
That's a
that'd be
great
cool.
idea.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That way I can make sure that, because as far as I know, everyone could be, not even real. They could just be an illusion that and are you guys real? I mean, I'm just playing, but I heard Lift the Bell say that before. He's like, I don't even know if anybody watching this is real, but yeah, I know you guys are real. I'm just teasing, but it'd be cool
Yeah,
to meet
but
people in
yeah,
person.
I mean, I think that too. But I mean, I think some of us are and some of us aren't. That's the only thing I'm saying. That's the only thing. I think
Right.
some of us might act. Some things may be an illusion out there, and others aren't. We are those shards of that energy that have been scattered here that are yearning to return home. But
Yeah.
we are, scattered in, I think, amongst other things that are not soul based, maybe like we are. Does not require my judgment. It's not, not part of it, but
Yeah. That's why I enjoyed that show with, I don't know if you saw the one with Michelle Walling, and we were talking about, you know, our shells being here, our human vessels being here, and possibly they could be, like on autopilot, if you will. Like sometimes they have a consciousness in them, and sometimes the consciousness has been taken out, and they're sort of like on autopilot, ran by the Matrix. I don't know if
they're
you saw that.
zombied. They're
Right, but
zombied.
but they're sort
Hmm.
of, and I've had that with a few different people that people that were close to me, and that they don't seem the same anymore. And she was pointing out like maybe they've already been taken off on because I don't know if you remember when I had Angela on, and there was these healing domes, and people were taken away to the healing domes and stuff. We think it didn't happen, but we don't know that it didn't happen. They could have been taken away, and then their bodies are left here on autopilot, and we think they're just like as asleep as can
Playing out
be.
the game.
Right, but they're really gone, and their shell is carrying on autopilot. While they're maybe the Matrix is driving them, and maybe that's why they seem to just you point out a Mandela effect or something, and then you point out how it is now, and they're like, oh yeah, that's how it was, and then they change immediately. It's like they get a download, and maybe they're sort of just being driven right now, and maybe they're going to be brought back into their body at some point before some kind of event or whatever. There's so many possibilities to consider that
There is. Yeah.
that's why I think it's important that we don't think we've figured it all out already, because people are like, you're on the fence, you're going to get left behind when the rapture happens because I'm on the fence. I'm like, how do you know that's even, you're lying to yourself if you tell yourself 100% certainty that that's how things are going to play out. And I can tell you that because I used to believe that, and I used to lie to myself and say, this is how it's going to happen. But, when you become honest with yourself, you're like, you know what? I really don't know how this is going to happen. It's the first time I've ever gone through anything like this. You
Yeah.
know what I
Well,
mean?
as far
So,
as you can remember.
yeah, as far as I can remember. So,
Yeah. I don't know. Apparently, some of us have been taking on this challenge for a little while in a few areas too. I don't know. They still
yeah, we
send
could
in
have
the
done this
pros,
1,000
right?
times before, right?
We're just sending the professionals to clean up this mess,
Right. It's
maybe,
like,
right?
but then we have
Mm-hmm.
amnesia to deal with. So, gosh, it's
Not for much longer. It's lifting. I can see. I'm starting to see things and how they are more quantum. Whoa, I'm getting woozy again.
and the whole time thing. I was talking to this with Eileen yesterday when we were recording our
Hmm.
Power Beta. Hey, it's going to actually air this Saturday because we pre-recorded. But we were talking about how the time thing, like, it's almost here in a week. It's going to be Actually, over a week or less than a week from now, it's going to be October 1st, which is the year anniversary of the Las Vegas thing. She said, "Oh, it's only been a year." And I was like, okay, when I think of the event, it seems like it was longer than a year ago. But when I think of like last October and that it's almost Christmas again, it seems like, wow, how is it almost Christmas? So there's something funky going on with time. Like events seem like they were like
Yeah.
longer ago, but then like Christmas and just the winter season seems like it was much closer. Like I can't believe we're already at it again. So it's weird how your perspective, depending on what you
Yeah.
think of with time, it's like the whole illusion of time is beginning to break down or something. I don't really know. I'm just, you
Well,
know,
I really remember, in the beginning of this process, and back in March, and even back then, feeling like the fall was so far away. Especially when you're going through all of this stuff, right? And it just seems so far. But now it's like I just blinked, and it's almost like, yeah, like shuffling. It's the images go by really quickly,
yeah,
really, really quickly. It's all, the books where you used to draw the little guy in the corner and make him move, and then you go.
yeah,
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. And you could maybe stop on certain parts or whatever, but then every now and then you skip a bunch of pages all at once. Bloop, when you're trying to do it. That's what it
yeah,
feels like. It's like,
yeah.
and you'll hop like some, and it's really weird too when a lot of us can't place. Did I do that, 3 days ago last week, or have I done it every week for the last year? I don't know. Did I
Yeah,
say that yesterday or today, or did we talk about it, or was that it? Was it in my
totally.
dream, or is this just something I do? I feel familiar because who knows anymore.
Yeah. And the
So
future seems so far away, but yet the past, it's like you get there and it's like, wow, that didn't take any time at all. And
each
yeah,
month has been freakily quicker, faster than the last. It really has. It seems like each month has sped up.
maybe that's what's more of being in the moment because more now than any time in my life do I try to really be in the moment and not really pay attention to the past or the future as much as right now, being
Your
present in it.
happiness
Yeah,
your happiness isn't dependent on what is ahead of you. So you're not waiting to be happy. You're choosing to be happy now.
yeah,
Huge difference. So time itself changes there. If you're happy now instead of always looking forward to being happy, it's like a kid at Christmas. What do you mean I gotta? Oh my gosh! I remember the night I didn't sleep. I was probably like 8 years old. I don't think I slept the whole night. That was the longest night of my life. That was long. Christmas Eve
oh
was
yeah.
the longest night of my life. I can't believe how long that one night felt. Right? Because you're looking ahead
Isn't
for
that
what
the
makes you
trap
happy.
though? Isn't that's why I always feel like dates are a trap because they take you out of the moment and they make you say, "Hey, at
Mm-hmm.
this date things would be better," and then it gets there and you feel destroyed because there wasn't this earth-shattering event that you could see happen. Maybe something happened, but then that's another level of the deception because sometimes you have no idea what's supposed to happen, but you put these ideas on what it's going to be, and even if something does happen, they don't add up to your expectations. So you still feel destroyed, even if you get
Mm-hmm.
this huge blast of energy. So I think on so many levels, putting a date on stuff is sort of dangerous to the psyche or to the spiritual side of things. Not that things aren't going to happen on
Absolutely.
certain dates, but it's good. It takes you out of the moment and
It's
makes you,
part of the illusion. It
yeah,
is part of the illusion. It's part of, I think, what holds a matrix grid in place. It's part of the
hmm
illusion. But, I think that what we're actually called to do right now in a lot of ways is like, I see the great father sort of reaching down to us, and that we really are those little children. He just wants us for having fun, playing with blocks, playing with each other, like simple things.
yeah,
That's why so many of us are creative, to just be happy and doing simple creative things. And you don't have to finish it. You don't have to win an award for it. You
hmm
don't even have to tell anybody else that you did make something. It just, it's not always a race. It's not always an
yeah,
end result. Sometimes it's just the simple joy of that action that you're doing that makes you feel good at that time. And I think that is really what the creator wants us to do right now, is to just simply enjoy the bliss of creativity. without it being an end result. It's our expression of him. So express it. I think that's why we're really called to do it. So don't worry about the other things that are going on or all around us. You know, we're God's children, safe in his playpen right now. He wants us to play together, have some fun, and watch the show.
Exactly. Yeah,
And he's got us.
and to
You know.
do, if you are creative and you do things like art or music, to make more time for that, because I've noticed
Mm-hmm.
it really gets me in a meditative state when I'm doing art, and so I think that's why a lot of people see these changes, that you'll notice they're more creative people, like they're a writer, or they do music or art or one of these things, and they seem to be more aware, because I think you're tapping into that right part of your brain, which is more the infinite creator God part of us aspect. It's away from the ego
Mm-hmm.
side, the left brain. So I think it
Yeah.
connects us to the all, and it seems like those people that do the music and the art and the writing and any kind of arts, even dancing and stuff like that, they can really engage with that more infinite part of our being, and it's
Well,
like
they're very in the
meditating.
moment,
Yeah,
especially with dancing. I think
yeah,
that's it. It's not with being artistic or creative people, and having that naturally within us. It's not about oh shoot, I had it on the tick.
oh, that's so funny, because last week people were talking about how we were talking about doing art while they listened to the program, and
Yeah,
everybody
I
was
think I'd really
chiming
like to
in.
have different artists on my show as well, like once a week. Like, what do you do just for fun?
Right.
You know, that it's not about, we create not to prove something. That's what it was. It was a P word. It was P word. Prove something. We don't create to prove something
Right.
to other people. We create because we have to, because we're creators. And that's where our happiness is. It's not, it really is in the process. Or what's the point? It's not the end result. It's the process that's got to be the joy. Right.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of us, we're not out to prove something with the creativity that we have. We are just out to create.
I had to make sure I put that link into John's video, because I had
Yeah.
copied it on the wrong computer, so I wasn't able to paste it. But it's in the description. I'll paste it into the chat box too, because that got me thinking about his music too. Wonderful, and you can tell he has fun. He does the music, and then he can do the editing of the video. So he's got all these multiple tiers to really engaging in that creative part. Even, you've noticed, making videos, that's still that creative part, and people say, I make jewelry, or I do art, or I do this and that while I'm listening to you guys, and that's just awesome, because I was doing the same thing yesterday while I was getting my car ready. I was changing the oil and listening to YouTube at the same time, and so I appreciate all the content creators.
I think that what we begin to realize as creators, when we're allowed to be our natural, selves, is oh my god.
Squirrel. Who was it?
This is so bad. I keep getting like the big woozies in my head, and I'm like on it, and then it's like I don't know what comes in.
That's how it
Holy
was earlier. I
smokes.
was looking at the grass and the trees. I'm like, man, this feels so fake right now. It's like I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't make it real. Even being in the moment, really listening to the birds and the planes and the highway. There's a highway like a mile away, and you can hear the hum of the traffic and the
Yeah.
loud muffler car kind of going by that stands out.
It's
And
hard to finish a thought then.
yeah,
It's
but
harder to finish thoughts because you're just
I was even taken
in
back to
there.
being a child and being in class and sort of staring out the window. They say, quit daydreaming or whatever. And so that's what I was
Mm.
doing earlier. So my meditation
Yep.
today was daydreaming, not really closing my eyes and really trying to. Sometimes daydreaming is just as important. I think it was, I forgot who it was, maybe Magenta Pixie that was talking about it. Daydreaming is important, to just sort
Yep.
of let your brain, and that's funny, because in Christianity, when I was growing up, they were like, an idle mind is the devil's playground. Quit daydreaming. You know what I mean? And it's like, but that's not true at all, is
No, it's not. Yeah.
it?
Yeah. You know what? I just remembered is Jess came to me yesterday, and you're going to like this because she's like, Mom, I had the weirdest experience. She remembered, just like you being in a kitchen. She remembered, she's like, I was awake, like I wasn't dreaming, but all of a sudden I was back in this moment, and everything, I could remember everything so clearly, like things I didn't even think I would remember. I could like smell it. It was so real. And I'm like, and I wanted to share that with you because I told her, I'm like, yeah, Shane had that same, experience with that. So I wanted to share it because she was really quite blown away by it. It was a very different thing for her. So definitely an affirmation for you that experience of being put back in your childhood and have everything so clear, so detailed, like and the feeling of it, like just feeling like you were back there again.
Yeah, that's
And she
weird.
had that. Yeah. So it's
I think that kind of relates to this whole time phenomenon we're talking about, where time is just doing strange things, because that's one of the things we have as time goes on. We have the fog of time. We can tell something was a long time ago because it's foggier and foggier and foggier, but sometimes it's like the fog goes away. You're taken back to that moment and you can experience all of the feelings of that moment. And what the heck is up with that? That's totally a 4D thing, I think. I think that's
it really is.
the
It
rainbow
really is.
bridge from 3D to 5D. We're in this 4D. 4D is time, the fourth dimension is
Mm-hmm.
time. So you're going to experience these weird anomalies as we transition into the
Mm-hmm.
fifth dimension. I think we're going to have more and more of these happening. More of us are going to have them. So,
Well, from how I was sort of trained in my dreams, for sure, it really is the a recognition. Oh, I'm really getting buzzy with this, guys. A recognition of pulling in this energy. It was me that changed my surroundings. And I do. So I have been shown that in dreams. I think that really is part of the key. We are being shown that with the removal of the linear time, it does allow us to pull in the resonance of where we want to be.
mm-hmm.
I believe that maybe we possibly have within us an ability that some entities don't have, which is an actual portal within us that we ourselves are able to port, that we don't necessarily require these portals maybe that other beings do. And I feel that there may be a possibility of truth to that. But I really do think that that experience that Jess had, that you had, these deja vu feelings, the pulling into the resonance of the feeling, to feeling that all of these things, I think, are escalating again over and overlapping, and then imprinting with the numerics and activating with the numerics and
Yeah.
imprinting that process, and and allowing us to then see when we get to that point. I think that what that 0 point is that's where it allows us to go where we then choose to go,
And I think it's
and really
sort of
pull
like
in
that.
that and just and that is within our ability to change that exterior to that extent. That will be the regaining of our sovereignty,
Yeah.
is that ability
And
that
to
we
just
are that inner portal.
realizing that so much of this isn't within our control. It's sort of like having a feature on your car you didn't know about for like 2 years. You're like, what's this button? You're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know my car did this. It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah,
We have options available to us within ourselves that we
like we
just
got
had no
sold a
idea.
bunch of Volkswagens. They threw out the manual, right? They
Right.
put in a bunch of equipment you didn't even know about.
Exactly. You're like, what is this little? Oh, this little joystick moves my mirror on the side. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
you didn't know you were driving 007's car,
Right.
right? You
Secret
got
panel
turbo
opens
boost.
up, and like you got all these extra buttons you didn't know were there. You're like, wow,
Yeah,
what are
you
these
can go
now?
underwater.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. And
go go gadget.
Google Gadget. Yeah, we're just a bunch of Google Gadgets now. And I think it kind of helps. Knowing that kind of helps to be able to get through the aches and pains, groans and moans,
Yeah,
and everything else. I'm grateful to be where I am at this time to be able to focus on what I'm doing. So, um,
yeah, me too.
I definitely feel for. I've had 3 kids and all of that, and to be going through this with that, I did experience that too. It's really hard. So it can be really hard for people. I understand those people are still holding those jobs and doing those responsibilities. It must be very, very, very difficult. So my heart goes out to them.
Totally. So I guess we
Mm-hmm.
can wrap it up. I noticed I'm late for another call with Indigo Light. I'm supposed to do a sound check with him. I'm going to have him
Mm-hmm.
back on soon too. But yeah, it's been a great show, great conversation. I could probably go another
Yeah.
hour talking about all this fun stuff. It's
You
fun
and I always,
yeah, it's
and
fun to speculate.
sometimes we do after the show.
Yeah, sometimes we carry on. That's funny. Talking
Yeah,
about all
yeah,
the things that we know might upset some of the viewers.
yeah. Well,
But
you know what? You just can't please everybody, and
yeah,
they're all ideas. Not saying I know, just saying, hey, look at that. Keep an open mind.
yeah.
Find your own inner truth, and that's fine. It's okay. Zoe says,
Oh, there's Zoe.
let's just all be
Hi, Zoe.
friends. Can't we
Such
all
a
just be
great
friends?
dog.
She's just awesome.
That is awesome.
She's just such a lovey.
I need
She's
a
such a
pet.
lovey. Oh, she just comes, literally hugs me. Yesterday I said, Zoe, give me some kisses. She jumps up and she's getting so big too. And even with her paws, she put her paws on my face so gently, hardly touching me, and then came in, give me a little kiss.
Aw.
And
That's
she was
sweet.
so, I know, she's so gentle.
And don't you
She's
love
like,
it how
Mama.
you can be in the most down mood or whatever, and they come over and they recognize you're in a down mood and they love on you and raise
Oh
your
my
spirits
goodness.
up.
Yeah, she will not let me. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
God forbid I cry. Oh, I will mention on a last note, I know some of us get, when we get this big energy come in, we get those like weeping spout, like, you know, because we're feeling the glory of what is going on and the power of what is coming in and the love that's within us and coming to us for us. And experiencing that. I just want to put that out there as well, that I've definitely been feeling the power of that over the course of the last few days, escalating, last couple of days especially, and the glory of it has been beautiful, and I have been weeping those happy tears myself. So if anybody else has, I want to let you know you're not alone.
Awesomeness. All right, lots of love to everybody. I do have Michelle's email on the screen, wolf.art101@gmail.com. So contact her with any of your dream stories.
Dreams, or if you require readings,
Yeah.
I do those as well. You can reach out for that, and any other interesting topics you think I might be interested in discussing. I like to cover everything under the umbrella, so I'm open to all kinds of ideas.
Yeah, and of course your YouTube link is in the description box below, and
Mhm.
John's music videos just below that, so you guys can go check out the full-length music video there and subscribe to his channel. So lots of love to light to everybody. Lots of love and lots of
love,
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 and
love,
light.
love.
Plenty.
Love. Oh yeah, and join us for Lighten Up Lightworkers live on Sunday nights, Jess and I. It's all about being goofy.
Yeah,
Don't
and
forget
you can
that.
also go to the website, uotf.net, to find out when the next show's coming. I know that notifications don't always go out. Is it suppression? No. Is it technical difficulties? You can decide on that. But I say just check out the website, and I will keep you posted myself. You can look, and it will switch it into your time zone on there, too. And if I don't show up at that time, just know I'm running late. Like today, we were having technical difficulties. But I will be on shortly after whatever the time says, if I'm not on time. So with that, I will leave you guys, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you so much, Michelle, for coming on.
I love
again.
you, brother.
I
love you
too,
so
sis.
much. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Love you all.
Love you. Peace.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.